very few shows can talk about it all. Welcome to the Disndat Show with your host, Jarvis, a.k.a. Mr. Disndat.
Yo,
all right, guys, all right.
That Hennessy on deck. We got Heinekens in the fucking back. I'ma wreck my set. The bitches keep on asking what's next. They keep buying my left, and I tell them next. Yo, you wanna meet me at the bar? Time for sex and a scar. Hold up.
All right, guys, there we go.
Yeah.
World premiere. We had a couple difficulties, but we out here.
All right,
we outside. We
outside.
outside. All right.
Inside. We inside technically.
Yeah, inside.
Technically,
outside.
we inside. You know what I mean? That's the 2023 flow. We inside.
I love it. All right, so we just heard the new track. I'll go ahead and play it again.
Yeah. Left. Alimony check. It's been 4 years since you left. 2 years since the alimony check. The year's long and I lost all respect for ya. The weird thing is I don't wanna check for ya. I'm done sticking out my neck for ya. I cashed in, cashed out, had to get lawyers. And that's word to my daughter. You're a liar, you're a chief, you're a thief, you're a hoarder. Tried to take the house and the car too. Straight nightmare, it felt like a cartoon. Restart, reset, had to bargoon. Now I'm sitting here crying in a bar room. You tried to start a mutiny, and then you went and gave another man my coochie grease. No peace, you won't eat, no apology. The last time you'll ever fuck with my economy. So here's the fucking dichotomy. You're a bitch, you're a loser, you're a wannabe. And I swear on this beat like my mama be. You'll regret all the things that you done to me.
All the things I'm borrowed, they were alright. That's why we forget just who we are. Make us come together and alright.
Just had a few questions for you. See where you're going with this. Before we get into it, tell me a little bit about yourself and your background in the music.
Background in the music. Well, I was thinking about this. Me and D were talking about it actually last night, and I kind of started reflecting on it. You know, so starting with me, we're talking 90s. We're talking early 90s, right? Early night. Should I be looking at you or should I be looking over here? Where we at?
You can look wherever you
want. All right, I don't know. I want to look good for the people, you know what I'm saying? So anyways, early 90s, you know, we started ripping on the scene. It started out kind of as a home brew project, if you will. So my family has deep ties in the music business. They're sort of like engineers by heart. They come from an engineer background. A lot of my uncles that made a lot of big noise in the music business. Okay. So we got handed this key, you know, this little gem to doing live sound and whatnot. So big shout out to Mr. Z, my pops, Realm Z, holding it down. He started a sound company by getting a lot of old equipment from my uncle and repurposing it. We started hitting up the clubs, and we're talking, you know, early 90s. This might be between 91, 92, 93. Yeah. You know, this would have been when we started first hanging out, the first years of us.
We were hanging like 92.
You know what I mean? Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So, you know, this was like a home studio project, if you will, if that makes sense, right? So Pops kept on bringing home equipment. We kept on building on that. You know, it started kind of as a DJ thing at first, you know. Mm-hmm. And we built off of that, man. We ended up getting like some old school drum machines handed to us, stuff that would have been used in sessions. A lot of people will buy $10,000, $20,000, $30,000 worth of equipment, right? You know, and then repurpose it a lot of times. So we ended up getting a lot of these hand-me-down pieces, and we would sit here and just break out beats and make little demos. You know, we'd play Slick Rick, Lottie Dottie, you know, whatever, and we'd start throwing our rhymes to it, and we got really good at it. Like, we were all honing our craft. You were there for a lot of this, and you could relate, right? Like, in those early days, experimenting with the different forms and formats that we had. So
I
so
gotta
we're
be
talking
honest.
I was a mere child.
I
Man.
gotta be honest. I thought you was gonna be my first rap star friend back then. You know what I mean?
I still am. I still am your
Then
first
let's-
rap star friend.
Let's go. I got a couple, but let's make it happen.
Nah, I know how you roll, man. Nah, listen, back then it was a different time, right? You had it was hard to do a homegrown studio vibe, if that makes any sense.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? That was not an easy
back
thing. It
then.
would have took 10, 20, 30 grand to
Yeah.
get that done, right?
Absolutely.
So
Look at us now.
look at us now, right? I mean, we could do it behind a laptop
These
with a
are
couple
all
mics.
phones.
It's a little easier. But back then it was a little harder. So to have that sort of if that makes any sense,
Yep.
and be able to not only make music for other people, because that was the whole thing. Is you got to remember, we're buying all this equipment, we're putting all this shit together. It wasn't for us. It was inadvertently for us. We were thinking, man, we can make money doing sound in the clubs. We can bring in artists for a certain amount an hour and record them. You know what I mean? These are you remember back then, $30, $40, $50 an hour, $100 an hour, you rent a spot, right? So we ended up building a little studio that had an amazing sound to it. And it made a lot of energies and a lot of people gravitate around us. Next thing you know, we have several artists coming out with projects. I'm producing beats. Pops is doing a lot of the engineering. You know what I mean? He's handing me gems. And then we started running into guys like this that we went to school with, and they would come with a keyboard or something, some kind of instrument or something. And they bring it in and you'd be like, yo, I play trumpet and I make beats. And I do this and I do that. And before you know it, we're kind of teaching each other some lessons and things like that, if that makes any sense, So I don't know,
I've
man.
always told the story about the first time, I didn't know I was creative until I was almost 20 years old, and I played piano as a kid. I took piano lessons and stuff, but I'll never forget. I think I was a year older than you in high school and stuff, so I had already graduated, and I had went off to the city for a year, and I came back, and you called me, and you were like, yo, you're in town? And I'm like, yeah. And you were like, I just got this dope graduation gift. Come over or whatever. And I went over to your house, and
wow.
you had gotten this SP1200.
Oh,
And at the
wow.
time, I didn't know what it was. I had never even considered me a musician or whatever. I took piano lessons because my mom made me as a child or whatever. But you remembered I played piano, and you were like, you play piano, right? And I was like, yeah. And you're like, come in this room. I don't remember what house it was, but I remember we went to went through a back door, and there was an island in the kitchen right there.
Wow.
And then you went down a hallway, and I think you had
Wow.
a room to the left or something like that. And you go in there, and you had this SP on the floor and an old Casio keyboard connected to it. And you're like, just play something. I'm like, what for? And you're like, I'm going to sample it. And I'm like, what are you talking about? And I played something, and you sampled it, and 30 minutes later, there was a beat that I could be like, oh, yeah, all right, I get it now. And that was my first exposure ever to the whole music thing. And I didn't even know what my future held for me and what I would be doing, but it was that moment that kind of sparked the flame and stuff.
Wow, I'm blown away by that story, bro. I really am, because a lot of those things leave your brain after a little while,
I remember.
And I still have stains of it. I remember having the SP, and I remember tapping you because it was like, yo, I know somebody who knows how to play amazing.
Yeah.
You always had this sort of natural flair. You could just reach over to the keyboard and and bang something out. Yeah. And that was something that we were lacking at the time. And it was like, yo, if I could get this person to align with this, and we marry these two pieces together, Yeah. So that's an interesting story, man. I'm kind of blown away by that, man.
That was the intro, After that, I became a studio rat. I was hanging with I have a cousin, Damien, and he
big shout out to Damien.
Yeah.
Damien was always in the cut. I never forget Damien, man.
Yeah, I remember.
Legendary,
he came back from New
bro.
York.
That's the posse.
He came back from New York with his 8-inch 2-track or whatever, reel to reel, and
he always had gear on him.
And
He
the
always had
Trinity,
some
I think he
gear
had
on
a
him.
Trinity or something like that, and he's just like, I'm making music now. I'm like, what are you even talking about?
Yeah.
And one thing led to another, and there's a lot of amazing stories of how we ended up.
What's he doing now? Just asking.
Real estate.
Hey.
So,
That makes sense, man. He
that's
was
the
always
sense.
big into fashion. I always remember Damien always with the freshest gear. He always had some whatever whip, Lexus
Always had a
whip,
dope
something.
whip and stuff.
You know
Yeah,
what I mean?
yeah.
Yep. Always pulled up yo, man, I got 10 keyboards on sale.
absolutely.
You guys want to buy a keyboard or a mixer?
I like
yeah,
that.
he always had
Always.
something. He always had a hustle or whatever.
Hustle. Now,
And he landed us at Park Studios, and that's where kind of it all began for me.
Oh, wow.
I would just
Yeah, Park Studios.
Park
Yeah.
Studios, a lot of
Yeah,
people
he
got
had-
their start there.
Yeah, a lot of people don't. Park Studios,
You remember
Cats
Park?
Don't know
Yeah.
about
Oh
Park
man.
Studios,
Oh
but
man.
Damien
It's
and
legendary out there.
100%.
Damien and Stan, they ended up with they met this guy named James De La Raza, who had an idea, a vision for a new sound or whatever, and we actually met him at Four Fighters on a Friday night.
Shout out to
Four
Four
Shout out to
Fighters.
DJ Leon. Four Fighters Friday night. The ton, you know.
Remember Four Fighters? Holy
Yes,
shit.
sir.
And they that landed us with a deal, you know, with Park Records and stuff. And I used to just hang. I used to sleep on the studio floor while they were working till 2, 3, 4 in the morning, just listening and watching. And one day they went into a meeting that I wasn't allowed in, and I stayed in the pre-production room with an SP and a record player. And an hour or two later, they came out and they were like, "Who made that?" And it was just like, I just hit buttons.
Wish you was part of that.
Yeah.
Huh?
And,
So Frank, quick
Yeah, I
question
used
not
to
to
get
cut
down.
you off. What inspired you to take the 10-year hiatus, and what made you decide to come back now?
Taking a hiatus, man, that's a rough thing to do, you know. Taking a break, I took a 10-year break, and you know, I basically the last thing I put out in terms of like music, project-wise, would have been 2012. I know we were messing around early 2000s. Was the last times we were doing Park, like you were mentioning Park Studios and all that whatnot. But you know, the last thing I put out was in 2012, man, and I took a hiatus because of family. I wanted to sort of reset. I went with the corporate structure. I was going down the IT route, you know. I was looking for...
let's call it what it is. It takes a toll on you, this game.
It does, absolutely, man. It does. And at that time, we got to remember, too, you know, you may recollect, but music was really shitty back then.
Oh, yeah.
Like, the business literally started to take a plunk. It was going downhill.
After 2005.
Yeah, after 2005, music was sour. Everything was regurgitated. It sounded the same. So, you know, 05... I had put out a project then, and then I took a little like year off, and then I came back, and I had been doing all kinds of things. By the time 2012 hit, I had several projects out. I had been starting to fly drones for the first time, taking over that whole
Flying
Junkies thing. Shout out to the Flying Junkies family. So by 2012, my son was already getting into the game. Nice. So the bloodline was just, you know, was seeping from my uncles and my father and all of them. It was seeping into me and being handed over to my son now. He was gathering all this info through osmosis, just through kind of being around, if that made sense, you know?
Awesome. Did he pick it up organically, or you had to force hip-hop into it?
He picked it up, man, just by being around. He was a planet. He was a planet in line with us, if that makes sense. You know what I mean? He always had been around it young. He always been exposed to it. When he was in my ex-wife's belly, he was listening to hip-hop. You know, big shout out to Bobo. We all know Bobo, Big David holding it down.
Yes, sir.
I remember being in a whip with him one time, and we're flying through red lights because it's like 2, 3 in the morning. He's like, I ain't trying to get pulled over.
So he's gonna fly through the
in
red
like
lights.
a big, like, I don't know if it was like a Mercedes SUV or something. It was some weird big ass boxy some shit. And we're flying through the lights, listening to like Camp Low as loud as can be. It's like, this is it, Wild Lucini pouring from the sky. And we're eating red lights the whole way through. And I look over and my ex is like pregnant as hell. And that's my son in that belly cooking, you know what I mean? So he always been through osmosis. Big shout out to Kaz, my son Khalil holding it down.
Yes,
He's
sir.
always been a natural born killer, if that makes sense. So I forget what the question was, man.
Sorry,
But
you answered it. I appreciate you. I got another one.
all right.
Describe the process of creating your new song, Bad Love. And
Ooh, that's a two-part question.
how did the song idea come about?
So, well, let me hand the mic off. So I got to give all credit due to my family right here. This is my brother D Murray holding it down. Detox Studios, Beatsbydeee. That song would not have happened without this guy right here. He was very persistent.
Okay.
I recalled this story earlier, man. You know, and it was kind of funny. So he kept hitting me up like, "Yo, can you make some music with us?" You know, trying to get down. I had some visions or whatever, and I was just like, "Yeah, you know, it's cool. You know, I'll holler back at you. I don't really rap no more. I'm not an artist anymore. I don't rhyme no more. You know," and he kept he was so fucking persistent, bro.
But there was a reason why I was persistent.
Absolutely, there was.
Okay.
There's a story to this. I'm gonna let you take over. I'm just gonna give him the quick version, right?
Okay.
He was so persistent, right, that maybe 4 or 5 attempts at reaching out to me and getting like very limited response from me.
I understand what you mean by that.
Yeah, I know.
You were doing this for a while, my man.
I'm the great procrastinator, bro. I am the great procrastinator. I will admit that, you know.
Everything
that
happens
now.
in time, right?
You know what I mean? Yes, absolutely. I'm the great procrastinator. But he kept hitting me and hitting me and hitting me. And it was like the persistence. And I started remembering the good times we had in the past. I remembered how we would flex on the honeys. I remember how we would always style on the gear, you know. And I remembered his music always touching me.
Okay.
So he just was so persistent, right? And I had him on the back burner. And that was my fault. It wasn't like I had 1,000 niggas hitting me up. It was just like, I'm not doing this now.
I was one of those niggas, though.
I'm not doing this now. Absolutely, bro. This show is 4 years in the making. For anybody tuning in right now, this show is 4 years in the making, okay? We were in this same spot 4 years ago planning for this epic moment that we're having right now. Big shout out to Disndatradio, holding it down. My man Jarv Digital.
Yep.
Stay focused, hold that and all that. The movement is a thing, bro. And it's starting now, 2023. But anyways, to make a long story short, because I definitely want to hand the mic over to my bro here, he ended up hitting me on IG, right? And as I'm in the middle of a live, he's like, "Boop, I want to join your live."
Nice.
And I'm like, "No doubt, hop in." Boop, and I hit him, right? So he joins in, and it's 3 of us. Yeah. So because there's 3 of us, I'm dealing with this new guy that I just got in dealings with. Big shout out to my homie Naslin. Core Culture Podcast.
Okay.
We do a show like twice a month.
Let's simulcast.
No doubt, for sure. We all gotta get on it, man. A Zoom meeting or something. But so big shout out to NOS. So I forgot where I was going with that. So NOS, right? All that whole shit. Damn, where was I going with that?
You were on the live stream.
Oh, so me and NOS are on the live stream. Thank you, fellas. I'm bugging. I'm having an Ed Lover moment.
We're good.
So me and NOS are in the live stream, and Derek Murray pops up on the screen, Beatsbydeee. And I'm like, damn, I've been putting him off, man. He's hit me up like 3 times, and I give him the, yeah. You know, you gotta understand, we gotta go back a little bit because we lost a lot of people during COVID, you know, mutual friends of ours that kind of took a toll on us. So when I thought of him hitting me up, I thought of those people, you know, and it threw me into despair. You know, I'll be real. I got into like a state of like, I don't know if I even want to touch on that because that's just going to bring up some weird emotions for me, if that makes any sense, you know? So anyways, long story short, I kept getting an energy. He hits me up on IG, joins the live, right? And as me and a new guy are chatting and we're getting to know each other, Derek's trying to give this like legendary story out. And I never forget it because the lights are dim. You know what I mean? It's mad black in the studio. There's lights blinking behind him. There's a beat playing low, a candle lit. And he's like, "Yo, what's up, yo? You know what I'm saying? I'm your boy,
I don't talk
Beatsbydeee."
like that.
You know what I mean? That's how it felt to me, bro. It felt like that to me.
Look out of here.
Yo, what's up, yo? I'm over here, you know what I'm saying, holding it down. I just wanted to come in and break in on the scene, you know. And I was like, yo, my man, you know, Derek holding it down, Urban Child Productions, goes way back with me. You know, what's up, B? How you doing? He starts trying to tell this story about this dream he had. And my boy NOS is cutting us off because we're like, you know, we're shooting the shit and we're having a convo. And he's like, yo, man, we're going to do a show. It's going to be great, right? So it was a letdown for me because I had to let that go. Yeah. You know, and I realized at that moment, I was like, man, I need to hit my boy back after this. Because he was trying to tell me something. Mm-hmm. This was a bat signal going up. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
You know, there's a bat signal going up. I'm sitting here, I'm robbing in the cave like, oh shit, everybody grab the cape, you know? And off I went. So let me hand the mic off. Let me let D get some juice. You know, I can tell he's ready to pop over there.
Let's go.
He got a story to tell. Listen, he got a story to tell.
Look, when you asked about Bad Love and how it began, you know, I'm an artist, you know, just like you, and I'm more about the art of this than the business side of this. And over the years, the music I've made and things I've done have always, some of the best stuff I've done, whether it's in design or in music and stuff, it's always been like led with a dream. I've always had like dreams that kind of synthesize a vision, that synthesizes a inspiration for something. And it was January of last year. I'll never forget it. It's so vivid. Like when you remember dreams and they're this vivid, you know they mean something. And it was January of last year. We were 23, so January of 2022, and I was sleeping one night, and I woke up in the morning, and I knew I had this dream. And in the dream, I saw Frank, and he was on a stage, and he was performing, and he was looking back at me, and he was smiling, and he acknowledged me as the producer and stuff of the music that he was performing on that stage or whatever. And I woke up, and I was just like, I got to make some music with this dude. And you got to take this into consideration. I hadn't really talked to Frank, talked to Frank in a decade. We ran into each other like 1 or 2 times at random spots around the city or whatever. And then there was only other conversations were about the people we had lost and stuff, in the years prior, whatever, through, DMs and things like that. But we hadn't really talked. So I was just like, damn, I'm really going to call this dude and be like, let's make some music after like this many years or whatever.
Yep.
But I just knew. I knew in my soul, in my heart, and everything that this was destined, that this was meant to be, and that I had to make this music. And like Frank said, I called him. He's like, nah, I don't do this shit no more. And like the normal person would be like, all right, move on. But I'm not a normal person. I'm persistent. I believe persistence is such a key part of success. And I was just like, I'm not gonna badger him, but I'm gonna call him every month. And for the next 5 months, like you said, I called him once a month. How you been? You gonna come to the studio?
I gave up after month 2.
Like,
I thought he
nope.
didn't want to talk, so I was like,
He was
what,
like,
let
nope.
me leave him alone. I should have stayed focused, huh?
You got the no. I got the no like 5
no's,
times, yeah.
like a sale.
And then like he said,
Hey,
we went
we
on
all
that
do.
IG live one day, and I don't think it was that time you were talking about. There was a second time where I went on, and I think it was you and Walt Grizzly on the
Oh, we need to
IG.
get him on the show. Definitely need to make that.
And
I could tighten that up for you. Don't
I
worry.
played some beats for y'all.
He would
I
love
think,
that.
Right? It was like I had just come back from the studio, my old spot, the compound.
Yes.
And I played some beats for you at like 1 in the morning on IG Live or whatever. And I know your man's was feeling them and stuff, and I was just like, okay. And then I think I got a little bit more consistent with the DMs and stuff, and we were just talking or whatever, and then just one day he was like, all right, I'm going to come through. And by that point, we had built a new studio in my house, Detox Studios. And,
Nice.
Yeah, that's true. That was in
and I
the
was
process.
like, you live 5 minutes away from me. Come there. That's Orlando for you, though,
That's
right?
the thing, yeah.
People live 5
That's
minutes
another
away,
thing.
But
and
it's
you
an
won't
hour.
see them for a
He
decade.
hits me up and he's like, yo, I live 5 minutes up the road for you. And I'm like, what? He describes where he's at. Yeah.
And Frank came through, and I had a set of beats already done. I had beats that were already done, but the beat he had picked, it was actually called Bad Love, and it was created.
Nah, okay. Hold up. I
asked about Bad Love.
gotta jump in on that with you though. I gotta jump in on that. With you.
He asked
Go
about
ahead,
Bad
go
Love.
ahead.
All right, go.
Give me your verge.
Well, I was gonna just tell you about the beat.
Okay.
And the beat I had made already that I had sent to him and stuff. I had let him hear.
This and that, fellas. One love.
Well,
Peace
yes,
and
sir. Big shout out to Prof in the background
new Drink
helping us
Chaps.
out. Yes, sir.
This is not Drink Champs, it's Drink Chaps.
Chaps.
So I had made this beat already, and it was I usually make happier, more commercial, I guess you could say.
That's not how I got it, bro. That's not how I got it, bro.
I
That's
sent
not
it
how.
to you, didn't I?
No, you didn't send me one. You're making it sound like you sent me one beat, bro. That's not how it
Let's
happened.
go.
Oh, I sent you like a bucket of beats.
Bro, you sent me this motherfucker.
I don't remember.
This
trailer load?
motherfucker right here.
Sent you a
this
trailer load?
super producer ass nigga right here, bro. This motherfucker sent me 20 beats.
No one has 20 beats anymore.
Okay, he wasn't playing. He was like, "Yo, I finally got you in the meeting. You know what I mean? We're gonna do some shit. I'm gonna bless you with a plethora of shit because I'm
go.
not gonna hit you with 1 or 2.
Not the
so I
plethora.
remember we had a little conversation offline,
Okay.
and it was like, "Yo, I'm gonna send you some beats. Is that cool?" And I was like, "Of course, you know."
Okay.
And you remember the email? You shot me the beats. I get a zip file full of, I'm talking
That's VIP
20,
right there.
18 of them are fucking ridiculous fucking bangers.
Yeah,
You know what I'm
yeah,
saying?
yeah.
The other 2 are like eccentric, eclectic. And I'm sitting here going, oh my God, you know, and I'm listening. And we're kind of diving through. So you remember, we didn't do Bad Love first. Do you remember that?
No, we didn't do Bad Love. We did the
Right.
other one.
Right. We didn't do Bad Love first.
Yeah, no, we did the Father, Forgive Me.
Forgive me.
did
Okay.
Forgive Me first,
So here's the
yeah,
thing, right?
yeah.
When he asked me to do music with him, I wasn't gonna do music. I told him, look, I'll give
What
you
were you gonna-
two or
what were you
three.
gonna do?
I
We
told
were
him
gonna
I'll give you
produce
2 or
other
3.
artists. Yeah.
I'll give you 2 or 3. If you like what I got, you know, maybe we could write for some other people. We'll do some hooks, choruses. We'll produce together.
Okay.
You know, because you got to understand, we also
was never the
produce
plan.
together as
Never.
well. You know what I mean? Hey, listen, get comfortable, everybody. You know what I mean? Make sure you pull up, pop your popcorn. You know what I mean? Get right. You know what I'm saying? This is a list.
That was
Story
never the
deserves some time, you know. But, So we ended up recording a couple of joints first, and they were kind of in a Red Pill manosphere vibe, if that makes any sense.
We'll call it that. Fine.
Only
Red
because
Pill
that's the
manosphere.
energy I was
That's
coming
the
in
music
with.
we're doing.
You know what I mean? Does that make
I
sense?
like that, the
like
Red
when I was
Pill
coming in, like the
manosphere.
first song was called "Forgive
Andrew
Me."
Tate Radio.
Yes,
Let's
bro.
go.
It was literally Andrew Tate.
Fuck the world, don't ask me for
Yes,
shit.
yes, bro.
Yeah, it's
Top
really-
G Radio,
You got
nigga.
love,
Yes,
yeah.
Red Pill Records or some
Hey,
shit like
I
that.
like
you know
that.
what I mean?
Red
So,
Pill
you know,
Records
I
coming
ended up
soon.
like coming with this energy, and I'm like, yo, you know, and Derek's, you gotta understand, Beats by D, Mr. Derek, Detox Studios right here is telling me, nope, I've shopped several hundred beats to people. I've given you the original shit, but I've shopped, he's got 300 other beats that he's playing me, because I'm curious. I'm like, what are you doing with those other 300? I've been shopping these to people, and people just can't hang. They can't finish the session. They don't want to write anymore. You know how the business is now,
Yeah,
right?
They're lazy.
And when I heard what this motherfucker was doing, bro, I could not believe my fucking ears, yo. It was a clean, pristine version. It was a modernized, pristine, crystallized egg that represented the old and the new. So it had the shit that you'd want from the old 90s boom bap era mixed with the shit that you'd want from some new age, crystalline, pristine sound. And I couldn't believe my ears. I'll be dead honest with you, man. So when you had like a few beats that I remember taking, and it was a couple heads. Big shout out Prophet, my man Prophet in the back over there. I took a couple beats. He G checked me in the studio. Yo, Prophet G checked me. He's like, yo, why you got to take all the good beats, bro? You know what I mean? And I was like, yo.
They all good. You just gotta make
I
the
was
right
like,
song.
Yo, relax, man. I'm sorry, you know. So he ended up jumping on a few of them with us. Forgive Me was one of them, since you have mentioned that.
Yeah.
Big shout out to Prophet on that.
That was the first one,
He
yeah.
jumped in on the chorus on that. That shit came out like
And that wasn't something I was
amazing.
expecting.
It
That
wasn't
something I was
expected.
expecting
It
for
was
the first
very
one at all,
weird,
yeah.
very different. What would your take be on going from Forgive Me to Bad Love, you know? Because Bad Love was like 3 or 4 in, right?
It's an evolution, actually. Because when you think about it, you started with Forgive Me, right? And then you went to No Internet. And where Forgive Me was like almost like the penance, the things that you have experienced and stuff. And No Internet was the hope for where you want to be as a man one day. Bad
Can't
Love
wait
was
to hear
the
that
truth.
one.
Bad
Wow.
Love was the truth of what you went through. And it was all natural progression and evolution to me.
Yeah, this shit.
Yes,
Yeah,
sir.
this
I
shit.
love
This
how
is
you
why I
broke it
keep these
down.
niggas on my marketing team, bro. Because they the fucking truth, bro. Orlando has no idea. Central Florida, going up, over to the East Coast, out to the world. You guys are fucking slipping, bro.
We here now.
Don't play. This shit right here is the realest fucking engine, the realest machine you'll ever get injected to. Don't fucking play games, yo.
Hey,
Yeah.
let me ask you a question. So
All right.
far, how do you feel about the reception to Bad Love?
So this is the thing. People got to understand, you know, what you mean by reception, right? Because Bad Love is a very personal song.
let's rewind that.
Okay.
Before I ask that question, explain to the people that are listening and watching that haven't heard the snippet yet, that didn't catch the world premiere on This and That Radio. What's Bad Love about?
Wow.
It is
You
all
might
available
be the first
on
person
all
to ask me
platforms.
that question.
It's available on all platforms.
At midnight. At midnight.
Let's
All of them.
go.
How-
This
what's
and That
our-
Radio
What's
is
our
playing it
timer on that?
right
I know we're
now.
about to go live on that. Yeah.
We've been live. We've been live. Played already. Let's go.
Bad Love is a very personal experience for me. You know, like I had mentioned earlier, we're probably 3 or 4 songs into the studio. You know, where I'm at the point now where I'm breaking what I said to myself, which was I'm not gonna do more than a few songs because I'm not rhyming. I'm not doing this no more. You know.
Yeah.
And I
Never
just
the
felt
plan.
this music, man. And I'm going through these 20 beats that I was given. And there I see this beat called Bad Love. And it has the grooviest bass line, the kick, the snare. Everything just slaps your brain around. And it brought me into this energy. You know, I felt hype about it, but I also was brought into this space. And I started looking through all his beats. And I was noticing, I was like, oh my God, you know, a lot of his stuff has deep, meaningful titles. You know, most people will throw a stupid, you know, name on the beat like Eagle Claw, you know, and you're like, what does that mean? But these were like, you know,
name that their feelings.
time my heart broke.
As a
And,
producer, would you
know,
be upset if he changed the song from the name of the beat?
Ooh.
Not at all, because he's done it already. It's not at all.
Okay.
Like the titles are usually based on a feeling that I'm feeling
That
at
you
that
have.
evening or whatever.
Okay.
But I'm not arrogant enough to know that music is just about me. It's about both parties and the prosody of both the rapper and the artist and the musician. So yeah, definitely, if it makes sense, we're gonna do it.
I love that. Love that.
Yeah. Yeah, there's been a few that we've tried to meet on the middle ground for the title.
Yeah.
You know, Bad Love was one of them. You remember the working title that I threw at you, and you were like, "Nah."
Nah, I
son.
left it as it was. Bad Love was Bad Love just had like a good ring to it.
I told him, let's call it Mad Love. And he was like, "Nope."
Nope.
Like,
So-
literally, he just went, "Nope." Left, right, nope.
So I
was
love
like,
the
ooh.
song, but I gotta ask. Okay, now it kind of hits home. Are you worried about repercussions, people's feelings? At this point, the music is good, and I think a lot of people need it. Right? I'll be honest. I was at some point in my life a disgruntled ex.
Wow.
Would you have considered yourself a disgruntled ex, or you had to get it off your chest?
I definitely had to get it off my chest, man. You know,
I appreciate it.
This was therapy for me. You know, that's the thing. Like that whole story we told earlier
Mm-hmm.
about, this fateful moment of like this needs to happen. I had a
Yes.
dream, kind of a thing. You know, that affected me.
I had no idea what he was going through in his life. I had no idea about the scenarios. What I hadn't talked to him in, like I said, 5-10 years, whatever. I had no idea what he was going through, and to have that dream, and then to have him come 6 months later and start recording. Because remember, we did 11, 12 songs in a month and a half or whatever, and it's like to do that, like when he did Bad Love, and I started really hearing the story of what was really going on in his life outside of what we were doing, whatever. It was just like, okay, this is why I had the dream. This is why I had to be there, because no one should be able to have to hold that all in and not be able to express it.
All right, so what do you hope your listeners to take away from your music?
Well, now hold on. You asked about the repercussions.
Oh, let's
you
go.
know,
Back up.
That's about the repercussions. We can't just skim past that.
Rewind,
You know what I mean?
selector.
Hold on.
Rewind.
20
Go for it.
questions. I bomb them
Let's
and
go.
I rock out.
Loving it.
Listen, I'm not worried about repercussions at the end of the day because I walk in a circle of powerful people. We are not negative. We put out nothing but positive energy.
Whoa.
And because I'm telling my truth on this record, this is my truth. This is my honest version of the story. We got to back up. We got to remember that a lot of times when you go through breakups,
Yeah.
when you go through, you said you've been through something similar yourself,
yes.
right? I know
My song's
I know
a lot
you have as well.
harsher.
Definitely.
My song's a lot harsher.
Right, exactly. You know what I'm
Fucking
saying?
bitch.
You see
I
what I'm
hate
saying? See what I'm saying? Like the average person wants to lash
Shit.
out. The average person wants to lash out, right?
Yeah.
They want to go NWA on the track, right? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That was my therapy session. You know what I mean? I literally when I heard what he was putting down, when I read some of the titles of the beat and I heard what he was putting down, and he gave me this backstory, I was like, holy shit. And you got to remember, we have a deep connection. We go back. We are before music. We're in Spanish class. Shout out to Lake Howe High School alumni. Anybody watching now?
Silverhawks.
We're in Spanish class, cheating off the girls in class. You know what I mean? Together. Smoking the L in the parking lot.
Your ex was
cutting
there,
school,
too.
You know what I mean? She was there too. Absolutely.
Remember talking about Tribe Called
That's
Quest
my
with
high
you.
school sweetheart, man. You know what I mean? So the whole reason I created this song, man, was because I wanted to give back, right? Every time I listen to music, the artists I appreciate most are the ones who, when I listen to them, I relate to them and I say, oh my God, that's my story.
Oh.
You know what I mean? Like,
Wow, that's deep, man. I believe in affirmations, what you just said, right?
It-
My song is Kanye West.
ooh,
What's the name
Ooh.
of the song?
sit on some 808 and Heartbreaks.
I know it's wrong. There's something wrong. You've been putting up with my shit this way too long.
Oh, yes.
Then I'm like,
Run away. Run away.
I'm like, you know what? Just come on, man. But I have a new song now. Bad Love.
What's the new breakup
Bad
song?
Love.
Oh, check it
Use
out
a
on all
hoarder.
platforms.
Everywhere. Tonight at
Available
midnight.
tonight.
Use a
midnight.
hoarder.
Yo, listen, man.
I love it.
You know what happens?
Love it.
This is real talk. This is
Yeah.
real talk. You know what happens, right? Is a lot of times when you go through a breakup, the guy doesn't get to tell his side of the story.
Amen.
He'll tell it, but nobody will hear it.
Only his real circle can.
Nobody
knows.
will, even your real circle will not listen to you. A lot of times your own people will say to you, yeah, buck up, be a man.
They don't want to get involved.
Be a man, bro. Just pick yourself up, So I got lucky, man, through my, because we're talking about Bad Love. And, we got to remember there's a lot of music on this album, but we're focusing on Bad Love, right? So this whole thing about breaking up with somebody and losing your loved one, I got lucky because of guys like this. I got 20, 30, 40, 50 of these in my circle that hit me up the minute shit went down.
Yeah, we here for you.
And they were like, yo,
we got.
We're here. This is what we got. And without that circle, I'll tell you what, man, shit would have been a lot different. Because the old me was the old me. You know what I'm saying? I would have got psycho, and did some dumb shit, but I had a lot of good people that were like, yo, just, keep your peace, talk your peace, and if you got to take it,
Press it on the mic.
So what do you want the listeners to take away from the music?
I want people to be healed by this, bro.
How about your ex?
What do I want her to take away from it?
Yes, sir.
She could take whatever she wants, bro.
Fuck it.
She could take whatever she wants from this. I'm not concerned with the outside opinions that come with this kind of thing,
May I ask? Are you guys speaking? Because you won't be after this drops.
Damn.
In my opinion.
This guy's hitting me with the hard questions over
Hey,
here.
welcome to This and That Show.
Hold on. I gotta unzip for this.
Let's go.
I gotta unzip for this.
That was rough.
Hey, listen. No, I mean,
Hey, you made him
let's
unzip
be
his
realistic. It's about accountability, right? So you explained that you were telling your side of the story, right? But you're actually telling your side of the story to a very big public arena, which I'm fine with. But my question is, are you okay with whatever happens after the fact?
I think that as artists, part of our responsibility, part of us being able to have these gifts and talents is accepting that sometimes we have to expose the vulnerability of our real lives and what we go through to be able to inspire and help other people. And yeah, maybe some of the people in our circles and our families and our close friends don't like what we're saying because it hits so close to home. But sometimes as artists, we have to look past our inner circles and look at what's more important, which is the broader audience, the rest of the world. Because there is a guy or a girl somewhere out there right now that is just hanging on by a thread for life. And they need to know that someone else felt this kind of pain. And that's what's really important. And that's what Bad Love is all about, is really being able to express that type of pain and that type of heartbreak and being able to say, hey, look, I'm a man, I'm strong, I take care of my family, I take care of my friends, but I feel these things sometimes. And I think that's what's, this is really all about at the end of the day. That's what's most important. And it supersedes whatever anyone's exes or anyone's family or friends think about it.
Great answer. Great answer.
I mean, if I could throw my 2 cents on the back of it,
definitely.
That's the hill that I'm climbing right now with this song. This is such a personal, deep, and profound song for me. It's one of these songs that you both love and hate.
Yes.
Not this is me as the creator. It's something that when I created it, I both loved it and hated it. It was therapy. It was helping me sort of tell my story and get over and to kind of answer the kind of questions you're asking.
Yeah.
Because, here's the thing. Like I went through, we're going on 4.5, almost 5 years now of this. It's like 4.5 years. I went through a spell where a lot of my people were going, what happened, And I couldn't talk because I'm legally bound. This got as high as court for us. You know what I mean? This wasn't a Sanford, split up. You know what I mean? Yeah, we just go to the court. You take your $500, I take mine. This was properties, whips, businesses that are owned.
We had a lot of time together.
We had a lot of stuff built. You know what I mean? I was with this person a quarter of a century. This is a high school sweetheart sort of thing. So, me having to sort of sort out my differences on my own and only have like so many people that I could reach out to that were like, yo, I'm here for you, If you need something, let me know. Big shout out to, I got a big shout out to Butch and my man Synopsis, man. Those guys were there for me heavy in the beginning, My man Rick Dunn and Lenny, may they rest their souls. They were there for me in the beginning, It's a lot. It's a weird thing to get this chance to be able to do what I did on that record. You know, that's the thing that people have to take away from this is that I put this on wax because I needed to tell my story. I needed to tell my version of what everybody's hearing. Everybody's getting different shit. People are coming to me and accusing me of things, you know. So I ended up putting this thing on record because I needed to get it off of my soul, you know what I mean? I needed to rip the scarlet letter off and drop it, you know. Do I worry about repercussions and how it affects you know, the greater cause? Of course, you know, there's a certain element of me that wants to be concerned and worry about people's feelings. But at the end of the day, when you listen to this song, the way it hits you and blasts through the, you know, through your heart ventricles, it's gonna blow your mind. What's up?
Yeah.
No, nothing. We're good. Keep going.
So I don't, you know, it's a personal song to me. It's very personal. It's hard for me to sit here and try to be eloquent and, you know, and because I know people have a lot of questions about this. A lot of the people watching tonight, a lot of the people in this room are personal to me.
I'd love to have you back, and we can answer live questions if we have to. You know.
No, I know. Hey, listen, I'm here for you, my brother. This is a blessing to be here. This and that.
Appreciate you.
Family,
now,
bro.
Here's a question: how do you see your music evolving in the future? And you know, what kind of impact do you want to make with it? Wow, I hear the giggle, so I feel.
I mean, evolution is, you know, that's a tough thing for any artist to battle over. You know, evolution is
It's personal.
Very personal, man. You know, like I've had people tell me that I don't sound at the same as I did back in the day.
Well, you should.
You know, and I don't know if that means I'm evolving.
Yeah.
You
Absolutely.
know, the way I feel I was evolving was me going from being more of a
Backpacker.
boom bap backpack rapper. That's a great way to put it.
Yeah.
That's a great way to put it.
Yeah.
To where I would go into a studio thinking, all right, we got to rhyme about blunts, stunts, and hip hop. You know.
Yeah.
To going, you know what?
Money,
I want.
clothes, and hoes. All the nigga knows. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You were there, bro. You lived it.
Yeah.
For me to sit there and say to myself, you know, I'm gonna go in there and rhyme about my sneakers today, or you know, me and my niggas rolled the L. It was boring to me, and you know, again, I had this influence next to me that's feeding me this energy.
Yeah.
And it was an energy. You gotta understand. This was a weird thing for me. You know what I'm saying? There's an energy that sort of. You are a weirdo, bro, but that's a good thing. That's why you've always been part of the camp. You know,
Yeah.
like I remember that back in the day, man. You know, you gotta understand, we were heavy influences on each other, you know? Like in the old, you know, when I say in the old days, I'm not talking 3 years ago.
No, we're
You know what I
talking
mean?
9-0.
We talking like almost 25, you know, plus years ago, right?
A whole bunch
You know,
of
and we
stories
would
there,
be, I remember describing it to you one time in the studio. I said to you, y'all are Lake Brantley niggas and we're Lake Howard niggas, right? And I was
Hey,
like,
I went to both
and
schools
I
and I don't
appreciate
I said, y'all are Polo niggas and we're hill figure niggas. That's how I described it.
Lake Howard was hill figure.
I was like, hill
I was
figure
Polo.
niggas
I
and
was
Lake
Polo,
Howard
yeah.
and Polo niggas were from Lake Brantley.
Yeah,
So when we came, we were always, you know, yo, what's up with them Timberlands? Yo, where you get the Jabos at? And you know what I mean?
Yeah, true story.
Right? So that was one of the things I remember is us as kids, you know, we would flex on our gear. We would, you know, flex on what artist we thought was better than the next, you know, and you were very eclectic in your taste.
D, I got one for you.
You know,
What advice would you give to aspiring musicians / producers who may be hesitant to take a break from their music career and come back after a hiatus, like you guys?
I gotta put my hoodie on.
Yeah,
for
I
this one.
left. I stopped doing music for 10 years myself. I think I had stopped like around 2005, 2006, and I didn't come back to 17, 18 when I went to the compound, when I came back from Tampa. And you know, I took a good decade off myself, 10, 11 years. And if you're a real artist, if you have a real love and passion for the music, I've always described it as a drug, as heroin that's just stuck in your system. You're always going to fiend it. You're always going to want it. You know, you're always wanting to go back to it. It's not about the fame or the glory. It's about taking air and turning it into a sound that inspires people. That's what all instruments are. Whether it's guitars, pianos, drums, you're just banging on air and making sound. And like, you know, that's a gift, you know, that's something that not everyone has. So for me, it's about persistence. You know, success, lives at that intersection of inspiration and persistence. You have to push, and sometimes you have to take a break. As an artist, life gets to you. We have these burdens that kind of weigh on us, and we feel everything. And sometimes you have to take a break, and you have to walk away and experience life again, and go through things so that you can be inspired and come back and keep creating and stuff. So I tell any new artist, if you
Hold
get to
that.
if you
Sorry.
I
just had to drop a hold that.
if you get to a place where like you're like, I can't do it anymore, it's just like rejection after rejection after rejection after rejection. Sometimes you got to just take a step back and walk away for a little bit, experience life, and then come back and tell those stories, and that's okay. Do not let the algorithm and do not let today's industry confuse you. The algorithm will tell you have to create nonstop every day. Fuck that. Create. Be inspired by something in life. Make something. Take a break. Experience a little bit more life. Come back and create some more. That's when you're going to have real authentic, I hate the word authentic, but real authentic sounds and real authentic art and stuff that can inspire other people. Everything doesn't have to be a turn up. Turn up was designed to distract us from everything that was about to happen in the world. We have to get back into, experiencing life and telling the stories, the things that we've all gone through, the deaths, the suffering, the things that we've been through over the past 5 years or whatever, and start telling those stories. And it's okay. Not everything has to be a party.
Let's go.
Never take a break.
Right,
Never take a break.
Can you give us a sneak peek into any upcoming projects or collaborations you have in the works?
Yes, absolutely, man. Yeah, Nevertheless, the 11th hour. You know what I'm saying? We've got about 14 songs recorded. We have 11 approved.
End of spring.
To go out to the public. Yeah. And we're currently kind of mixing those down. Big shout out to all my people, Realm Z family, who are coming together. I got a few DJs on deck or whatever that are trying to come through and do some work for me.
Let's go.
So Nevertheless, the 11th hour, please check for that. D's coming out with a
I produced
chill hop lo-fi project coming soon this year. I just made it happen.
Let's go. We'll be looking for that. We'll be looking for that.
My focus right now. Listen, we're a small operation here. Not only do I do music production, but I do content creation as well too. Graphic, video, web, PR, all those things. So for me, it's like I produced the entire 11th hour. We're finishing up the mixes and mastering now. And right now, my focus is putting this out and letting the world experience this. And maybe later this year, we'll talk about some lo-fi stuff.
We're looking forward to that. We're looking forward to that.
Yes.
What's the name of the next track that we're going to be sneak peeking?
No Internet.
We're doing No Internet?
Yeah.
Okay.
Tell me a little bit about No Internet, and then I'll go ahead quick cue.
So No Internet was one of the first songs that we kind of got going.
That's what you dropping next?
Yeah, that's the one you're about to hear now.
Single. It's not the next single, but we're just gonna sneak peek it.
Yeah,
tonight.
we're kind of leaking it. We're throwing it as we call it a B-side to Bad Love.
Yeah, it's a B-side to Bad Love. Yeah,
I love
that's
it.
what I would call it. I say that's a B-side to Bad Love. It is an eclectic track. It brings a sort of to me it's a Euro sound. To me it's very European-ish. I don't know if that makes any sense. I call it that, but when niggas hear it, they're like, that's not European. Somebody once told me, fun fact, that they thought I was on some Macy Gray shit when I came up with this chorus that you're about to hear, which I thought was kind of funny. You know what I'm saying?
So we just put together a little clip. We're starting the hook and going into a couple bars and just a little something for the crowd to get ready for the 11th hour coming late spring, early summer. It's coming.
All right, appreciate you guys. Listen, man, I want to tell you guys thank you so much coming out for the episode. That's another episode of the This and That show. Nevertheless, we have Beatsbydeee. Yay, Prof Money in the building. Look forward to seeing you guys a lot more. Let's get it. Much blessed.
There's a fire in your eyes. There's terror on your face. There's nowhere left to run. There's only open space.
Yeah, the last rhyme I'll ever fucking write. C4, knapsack, and some dynamite. Yeah, you might ignite, but you ain't spitting flames. Julius Caesar, I came with the endless reign. I'm a pain in the fucking ass. In high school, I was ducking class, pinching ass. Balls brass, I made the teachers laugh. A descendant of Atlantis with the secret math. I smoke blunts with your man, it's true. Livia Newton, grabbing on my Xanadu. I like brews coming through, bring a can or two. Cause if you don't, I'll have my hackers send the spam at you.